Hi, this is a short tutorial for the Chapter 5 Pie and Bar Graph. We have a scenario. You are an HIM personnel at a local facility, and you've been asked to identify some areas where you could see some funding improvement. So you have a group of team members, each from different areas, that have been asked to identify some areas and then bring it back to the table. For your area, you're going to be using the DRG charge data from your facility. We're going to get the charge data facility from CMS, but you'll have to pretend you're getting it from your facility. So I went to the CMS website. I went to the Medicare utilization payment data for inpatient, and I pulled the most recent year, which would be FY 2014. So pulled that, and I've given you all the link in the SoftChalk, so you can find it there. And I've also given you the link for the Medicare fee-for-service payment data and patient. It gives you some key definitions, which I've also included in the SoftChalk, and some more information. So I have that data already pulled down, and this is what it looks like. We have multiple facilities and multiple DRGs. So for your scenario, you're going to pretend that you're Methodist. I'm going to show you by using the Baptist Medical Center. And we're going to, for the Baptist Medical Center, we have 31, you can tell by the countdown here, 31 different DRGs. So our scenario is that we have to identify where could we see the best chance for cost improvement. So I need to know what the difference is between the average charges, and Medicare is typically a lower payment than the total payment. So I'm going to find out what the difference is between charges and the Medicare payment. That's quite a big difference for that first one, and if you were to think about that, I wonder how much that would be if we multiplied it times the total discharges. So this is the difference. Difference times the total discharges. And this is going to be the difference between average charges and average Medicare payment. That's a good chunk of change. Now, I just did that for one, and then I dragged, copied it, basically highlighted it. I changed it, or got that little plus sign, and then dragged all the way down for that calculations to happen across. So this gives us an idea where we can best see some cost savings. We may not even see some of it, but this is the potential per case, and if we looked at each case, it would be this much. So financial charts and graphs, like the spreadsheets, are better when dealing with this type, and graphs will do better with less numbers. So unless you have to drastically change the scale. So we're going to stick with the smaller numbers. So what I'm going to do, so I can start playing with this data a little bit more, I'm going to copy it to another sheet. And this way I don't impact that other data. I don't change anything. Keep my data with some integrity. And now I can sort. And I can do some filtering. So if I want to see the highest, I'm going to sort with Z on top. So the highest coverage charges and the difference that we could possibly see some savings at seem to have some correlation. But if you looked at the covered charges and total payments, you see that some of these are not in necessarily descending order. We sorted on column J, and that correlates with column F. One good thing to do is to do a total. So we're going to do a total by summing the columns. And that's a quick calculation. You press the equal sign, type in sum, and highlight your column. We'll do that one more time. Just sum, equal sign sum, open your brackets, and then the first field all the way down to the bottom field, close your brackets, and hit enter. So for the pie chart, I'm going to graph this column, and I'm holding down my control key, and I'm going to graph this column. I'm going to look at my DRGs and try to narrow down, some cost savings. So I'm going to highlight this one, hold the control key down, and highlight this column. It's column A and column F. I'm going to go to Insert, Pie. I'm just going to do the regular chart. Now, if it doesn't come up with these this legend down here, you may have to go and change the legend a little bit. But this is going to help us identify the ones that we want to not review. Okay, so these are all of them. So let's go into the select data. I did that by right-clicking on the chart area, and I got the select data. So this tiny little one right here, psychosis, I'm not going to look at that. That's not a major portion of our revenue that we could have a potential savings on. So I'm going to take off that one, and I'm going to look at taking off a few of these other ones. And I'm just going to go up the list right here. So psychosis was this little pie piece right here. I'm going to move on to cellulitis, miscellaneous disorders, and so on, until I come to the last one I'm going to eliminate right here. This maroon one, which is failure. The data for the hospital that you're going to be doing is slightly different. But you want the pieces of the pie that are taking up the majority. You don't want the smaller pieces because the revenue savings won't be as big. In this scenario, you're looking for the most bang for your buck. So we're going to start with septicemia, which is this one right here, on. So it's going to take off the remaining of these right here. If you wanted to add them back, you could easily do that with a right click and then check the box again. So this gives us a picture of the DRGs that are taking a major part of that pie. And I want to add the data labels. That's how much of the pie. We can change that to the percent of the pie, the dollar amount. Problem with moving outside is sometimes it doesn't necessarily correlate visually with the pie chart that it's going. And inside you can see this one we can't necessarily see. You can also add the category name, which gives it a little bit more information. I like it like that. And then you can move it to where it fits. Even separate out a piece or two, but then that distorts the picture. But you can have fun manipulating some of the data in the picture. And I'm going to report back with, I think the savings can be found in one of these. But I also want to add the percentage. One thing I do like is when you move it out, they can be clearly identified with the since this is going to a committee and people may be copying it for other people, I want to make sure that when it gets copied, or say I give it to them in color and then somebody copies it in black and white for somebody else, I want to make sure that it's legible all the way around. So these are the fiscal year DRGs with a total of in the chart area. Oh, another key piece of information you could do is you want to find out what percentage of fees is the overall percentage of overall. So let's go find so I've calculated how much total our DRGs are 6, 7 DRGs that make up the majority of the overall graph, and now we've narrowed it down to just those in the graph, but I want to see what the overall amount is. So how you calculate that percentage is you take what happened over what could have happened. So I'm going to divide that total, the 63,000 divided by the 1.4 million. and it's 45% of our budget. By that 0.5 right there, we have a percentage. If we would change it into a percent, we could format it 7 or 45% of the overall budget. So this is going to be your graph, and then you can do some analysis, like how much of it is of the overall budget. And then you can go back and look at some of the information that we have up here. Covered charges. And ask some Socratic questions that probe reasoning and evidence or rationale. Why are these so high? Is it because of the major complications? Some of them are with and some of them are without. This one is a stent. How much is that stent? Is there another stent that's comparable? Those are different questions that you can put down in your analysis. But you're going to need to give me a few different questions that you're going to want to ask or get some more information about. And that's what you're going to be bringing back to the group and reporting as your assignment. This is what I found. These 7 DRGs make up 45% of what potential, and it's only potential, cost savings that you could see. And you'll have to give some more rationale. You know, a few Socratic questions, one that of each type, and some other things that you might notice that you might want to ask for more information, such as cost of stents, or you know, different services, who's on the service, why is it so much, why is our charges so high? Is everything correct in the charge master? You know, when was the last charge master updated? Just different scenarios, because there's a number of things that could go wrong. I'm going to stop it here, and I'm going to start another little short video for the bar graph.
Already